Hello and welcome to Mastermind. Our mission is to build $1 million businesses so we can have financial freedom, time for our families, and make an impact in our communities. Let's kick it off with big wins and short intro. Daryl, lead the way.
Hey, I'm Daryl with Watermark Painting and Drywall in Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma. Been in business since 1999. I did have 4 employees. I recently let one go, so I'm down to 3. So I'm working on what to do about that right now. And a big win is I'm over here with Jason Phillips and his crew in Allen, Texas. We're at a Contractors Freedom Summit. It's pretty good. He's a good guy. Steve wants to help you win. He's not a business coach, but he just teaches you how to get out of the jail of business. So it's really cool.
Yeah, right on. Awesome. Thank you. Isaac?
Hey, Isaac Mumma with White Oak Painting in Southeast Iowa. And I've got a small crew of 2, but looking to build up to 3 here this week. And then hopefully another crew of 3 shortly after. Yeah, we focus primarily on interior, exterior residential repaints. And yeah, I went 5 years just doing it myself, fell off a roof and broke pretty much everything in my right side of my hip through my leg. And that woke me up to the fact that I don't want to do this on my own. Trying to build a company now, and it's been a lot of fun.
There you go. Right on. Thank you, Isaac. Hey, Seuss. Big wins and intro, buddy.
Hey, Steve. Yeah, so my win is following up calls. So that's been really good. I fell on that, but I'm back on it and I'm seeing the results again. My name is Jesus Garcia. I'm the owner of Garcia Painting down here in Iowa City, Iowa. And we focus on residential repainting and deck staining as well.
Right on. Thank you. Let's shoot up to Canada. Craig, good morning. Big wins and intro, please.
Good morning. So my name is Craig. Company is Cam Painters. I'm up in Toronto, Canada, and I've got four full-time employees, and that's actually one of my big wins. I just hired somebody a couple of weeks ago, and they're inexperienced, but they're off to a good start. They've got a really good attitude. Yeah, it's been a wonderful addition to the team. That's my big win.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Thank you, Craig. All right, Chris, good morning. Big wins and short intro, please.
Good morning, Chris Petcall with the Proud Paintbrush here in Houston, Texas. Big wins. I would just say that we had a gap in the schedule for a little bit, and so it's opened up. It's gotten busier again, and that's really good. And so we got 3 different things going on right now, and we just had 3 things going on last week. Yeah, starting to rock it again.
All right, glad to hear that. Get Big Mo going. Awesome, thank you. Sonia, good morning. Big wins and short intro, please.
Sonia Garcia with Palatable Painting. They came from the PCA. Didn't get to speak because we had to leave earlier on our, I didn't time that right on the airplane. But anyways, so I came back. I started knocking on doors on that Monday, and I got 1 lead. And it was really cool because I was able to give them an estimate. I'm still waiting on that, but they didn't ghost me like the last lead that I had. So
Yeah.
that's a win.
That's good. That's a win. No ghosting is a win. That's awesome. Very good. Thank you. And Justin, welcome to Mastermind. Glad to have you. Big wins and intro, please.
Thank you. So Justin with J Painting out of Minnesota. We do interior painting only. We don't do any exterior. 80% of our work is residential, sprinkled with a little bit of commercial in there. I guess a big win would be joining this group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I got for now.
All right, right on. Glad to have you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's kick off with one thing we could brainstorm for you, such that make everything else easier and or unnecessary. Daryl, would you like to lead?
Yeah, I've been working on something. I don't have the culture issue really, but I'm down to 3 employees, and Sherman, I have 2 different employees that are kind of top guys, but one of them's more of a carpenter guy. The other one's more of my painter, and painter's Will. And I've been having a few little hiccups with Sherman not really doing things Will's way because Will's leading the paint crew. But I know I need to add or fill out the painter agreement form to put everybody in a position. That's not my problem. My problem isn't putting somebody in a position. It's having a conversation with the other guy. Hey, he's going to be leading up our painting group or painting jobs. And so I know that Sherman's going to have a little bit of a hiccup with that because he's been here a little bit longer than Will, but Will's the leader. And my other guy who's on the team, he views Will as a leader too. And I'm just trying to have a good conversation with them. I really think I need to have a conversation with Will up front and let him know what I'm doing, and then have a group conversation so it's all out in the open. So I don't have a culture issue. It's not necessarily that, but Sherman has pulled off a couple different times because he'll come and help the guys painting for a while, and then he'll go and get materials for another job that he's not doing until tomorrow when he could have done at the end of the day. Just little things like that. And it's been brought to my attention, hey, that could have been done later. Man, so if I should structure this thing and put Will as leader, then Will be like, no, we need to be here until we're done. I don't know how to really have that because my crew gets along really good. But I think if I put Will in there, I gotta have a good conversation with the crew. I'm really good with talking, but I just want to make sure I structure that right. Am I making my point clear what I'm looking for?
Let me see if we heard you. We need to let Sherman know that he's not leading, essentially. That Will is leading. Okay. A couple ways I've approached it is from the weight of responsibility. And so I've approached the guy who in this situation had to be Sherman, and I would approach it from the heavy weight of responsibility. Say, hey, listen, is owning the responsibility of these projects, coming in on time, and the guys showing up and everything that's involved, something that you're interested in? And usually the guys who aren't the natural leaders or the responsible ones will say no. Say, okay, then from there, let them feel the weight, and then to say, okay, that's why I think Will would probably be best for this. So then they thank you for not putting all that weight on me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does. And that's an area I've been leaning towards. I've had a conversation at the very, very beginning with Sherman 2 years ago when I hired him. He did not want to be a leader. But he's been taking a little bit of the leadership role. So we haven't had any issues with culture and fighting or anything like that. But I need to structure it better. It needs to be better structured.
Yeah.
So that helps.
And then also let them know leaving in the middle of the day to go pick up supplies for another job for the following day. That's not leadership. That's an excuse for not working. That's an excuse for not producing. Yeah. Other thoughts for Daryl, guys?
Yeah, that responsibility ownership is the role that I took. And I think that just helps them realize, okay, yeah, this other person doing that would be better. And I don't have to be the one to do that. I think that would probably work pretty well for you.
Yeah. So I know we're ready to go. Just want to get some feedback before I have that conversation because it'll be next week. But my culture, I want to make sure you guys, my culture is good. I don't have any issues. I don't have guys not showing up or showing up late or anything like that. But I need to put some better structure. I got a little bit lazy on that, I think. I did. So thank you.
I think it's quite awesome that you have a crew named Sherman Williams.
Sherman Williams, yeah.
Yeah, I guess they don't use Benjamin Moore, do they?
That's a good one.
Sorry, I just had to say that.
Yeah, no, that was good. I didn't catch that. That was good. Okay, Isaac, you're up.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention my big win, so I'll do that first. I'm getting serious about my scoreboard, and it's working. I went from 0 qualified leads for 3 weeks to 6 qualified estimates, and I just closed a $10,000 just wall painting only job in a great neighborhood for an incredible lady yesterday. So I'm just like, okay, I got that locked in, and just going to keep plugging along. So that's awesome. And my one thing is that I'm wondering, and Steve, already know your thoughts on like project managers. So I'm just wondering, what's the best way to have it be so that you're not, I don't know, I guess what I'm experiencing is my lead, it does a great job and he uses the work order really well. But then there's different things where I'm still like getting pulled in on while I'm trying to sell jobs. And it's just, man, is there ever a point where maybe if you have multiple crews running that you ever hire a project manager that obviously just manages those jobs, and is that in between you and the crews?
Only if the leads are not responsible enough to handle it themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's zero in on some of these. Like, what are some of the issues that he's pulling in on? It's usually one of two things. Either they lack competency, or we're stepping out of our 3 Ps and doing projects that aren't common, right? Some examples of some things you're getting pulled in on.
Yeah, I guess if I were to zero in on them, I think mainly the last couple jobs would just be small specifics of like exactly what surface to paint a certain color and where that substrate ends and the other starts. And so maybe I
Mhm.
just need to get really fine tuned on my work order with that. And
Okay.
do you guys ever use CompanyCam for specifying different areas with a picture and drawing a little note and it's accessible via the cloud for everybody? Does anybody use that?
all the time.
Who
Ac-
does?
Actually,
Justin?
there was a fairly simple solution that I implemented on one job because I knew I wasn't going to be available that morning at all.
Yeah.
So I had to drop some stuff off at the job site anyway. So I did a video walkthrough and pointed out to all the various surfaces, this is what you paint this color till here, and so on and so forth. I put together a few different videos and sent it to them, and that seemed to preemptively answer some of their questions in that regard.
Okay.
That's an idea. It worked. It worked in the time. I'm not sure if it's as elegant as CompanyCam, but it worked.
Sure. No, that works. Video walkthrough. And I can't remember who I heard say they do use
I think
CompanyCam.
Justin and Chris.
What's
Yeah,
been your
so
guys' experience with it?
I find it highly useful. They got a cool feature when you're taking your photos, you can just record your audio. So you can say, hey, here's a accent wall in this corner. It goes all the way to this corner. You take two pictures and it'll record everything. So it'll be a note for you. You don't have to. And
Oh,
then
wow.
above and beyond, you can just draw little notes too in the pictures. CompanyCam, I would just over communicate through pictures and notes. So
Yeah.
if they ever have a question with a work order, usually it's on me. I don't provide enough information. So I try to over communicate where they're like, hey, I got it. This is good information, but try to lean more on that side.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
I just got CompanyCam because I was trying to save space on my phone, and that's
Yeah.
still probably 85% of its value for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't know, you could take pictures on your phone and edit them as well. I don't know how much, but it's nice how CompanyCam, I use it and I'll keep using it. It's good. Not that expensive or whatever. But the other thing that I'll do is I tell my guys and I tell my clients, I'll tell them in front of each other, I tell them separately or whatever, but I'll tell clients you're using drip jobs, Isaac, and like the work order that you're giving the guys is pretty much a carbon copy of the estimate that the client's receiving. And I tell the same thing to the guy. Basically, I'm letting them know you guys are everything that you see written here is what the client's seeing and expecting. And then back to the client, I reassure them of, oh, and just so you know, our guys are seeing the exact same thing you're seeing. And then just make it as detailed as you can. And then if it's a big enough job, be there at the walkthrough to go over when you first start the job, just be there to go over it all together and make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then if that works, then I don't have to come back to the job till it's finished. If I'm lucky.
Yeah. What are you paying for CompanyCam?
I don't remember. I don't think it's more than $15 a month.
15?
I don't think it's more. Yeah, I can't remember, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
remember either, but it's pretty minimal.
Oh, sweet. Okay. For some reason, when I was initially looking through it, I thought they were trying to charge me like 150 a month.
Just get the basic plan.
That's Canadian
because-
dollars.
Yeah.
Just get the basic plan because they have an AI feature, and I wasn't that impressed with it. And I got like the best one. It still wasn't 150 a month, but I got the best one, and it had an AI feature where you could speak into it like the project and hold your phone up and just be like, all right, we're going to paint this ceiling blue and whatever. And the AI was supposed to create notes that people could read. And one, it wasn't accurate enough, and two, but nobody was reading it. It was just too much. You don't need that much information for each picture. For me,
Okay.
I didn't.
Cool. All right. This is helpful. I appreciate it.
Here's the principle: responsible, proactive leads and detailed work orders.
Okay.
Alrighty. Hey, Seuss. Which one thing, buddy?
Let's see. So this one I've been thinking about, Steve, I believe I mentioned this to you. So when I'm in the estimate, I keep coming across people telling me that they're gonna have another painter coming over. And again, I just shut down. And then I start thinking to myself, what am I doing here? I don't want to waste my time here. So I speed the process. So in a way, I'm just setting up myself for defeat. And like, I guess it throws me off when someone tells me that, because I feel like they're not respecting my time. But I think it's a mindset issue that I'm going through with that.
All right, a couple thoughts here, and then we'll open it up. So this is going to be a good discussion. One is not respecting your time. Does that come from a place of pride or humility?
I believe it's pride.
Okay, so we know what we need to do with that, right? We need to check that because you're there to serve. Okay, so that's something, once you're aware, that's something you can work through. And then the other part is are there other contractors, are there other businesses out there who don't do what they say they're going to do, or maybe take advantage of people?
Oh yeah, I always hear stories like that.
Okay, if that's true, and we know it to be true, if we've been in this industry for more than 3 minutes, we know that's true, then you knowing that you provide an honest and excellent experience, don't you have a moral obligation to help them to see that they must go with you? Okay, once you own that, it becomes a whole new conversation.
Okay.
Think about that. So you have a moral obligation to help them to see that they must go with you.
Okay. Yeah, I believe that, Steve, but what do I
You
say?
don't help them to, if you don't help them to see that, you have to come from this place. All right, this is where you have to come from. Once you come from this place, what to say is just natural. It just comes, right? Exactly what I'm doing right now. There is no what do I say to Jesus to help him to see this? I'm coming from a place where I have a moral obligation to help you to see that you have a moral obligation, right? And what's cool is you don't feel like I'm closing you. That's absolutely what I'm doing right now, because I'm coming from a place of moral obligation, because I care about you. And if you care about them, they're going to feel that too.
I see. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
But we actually talked about that yesterday in our conference about people who are losing sales. There's two reasons. One is not being a server. We're there to serve the person. If we get, because I get like this too, Jesus, because 90% of my jobs, I don't bid against anybody. It's crazy. But I'm in a unique little area. But when I do, I start to feel the same way. But then I realize I'm there to serve this person. And if there's a issue on the price, it's my fault because I didn't come in there confident, not arrogant, but confident in knowing that I'm going to provide a great experience. Another thing I do with my clients is I don't really ever talk about the quality of work we do. I mean, the client, if they know you, they already know that. If they're referred to you, they already know that. If they don't know you, they assume that because you're a painting contractor. So I don't talk about the quality of our work. I just talk about the experience that my team provides. And a lot of times customers, one of their concerns are who's going to be in their home. And so I answer those questions up front. Don't even let them ask them. I tell them who I have on my team, what kind of people I have. I say my wife works with me, and I won't let anybody on my team work with my wife that I won't have work in your house. And I tell them I won't let anybody in my house that I won't work in yours. I tell them they got my credit cards, they drive my trucks, and so automatically they've already got that trust built up. And I talk to them. Will's going to be here. He's going to walk through this with you. If we're painting the whole house, we're telling them that if we're painting your bedroom, we're going to concentrate on the bedroom that one day so we can be in and out, so you can have your bedroom that night. When we're in your kitchen, we're going to make sure we get the ceiling done in one day so we get the plastic off the cabinets. I just talk about the experience my team provides. And then it's not about, they're not worrying about quality, because if you provide an experience and you explain that to them, the quality already comes. And then you come in there with the confidence of your team and yourself, your potential customer sees that. I'm very confident in my team's ability and the experience they're going to provide. And the customer sees that. And I think that's why I get a lot of my sales, because of the confidence.
Yeah.
Also, he's just consider the meaning that you're giving when they say we're getting another bid. It's not you. What they're saying is they're insecure. They don't know if they can trust contractors, and so they're throwing that out there to make sure that they don't get ripped off. So it has nothing to do with you. It didn't matter who showed up there, say they were going to tell them, they decided they're going to let them know we're getting other bids. It should be water off a duck's back. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna make sure I close you on the spot before I leave then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it happens. You guys have heard the stories, right?
I've done it. I've done it.
Yeah. Even while the other guy was outside waiting for his turn, they wave him off. Sorry, we went with Burnett. I felt bad for the guy, because it was never mind. It was a franchise that nobody is excited about. Okay, Craig, you're up.
Yeah, the one thing that I'd like to unpack is just seeing, so I need to get some work for my crews. So I sent an email newsletter. I called previous customers. So far, there's still other previous customers I can call just to check in, offer free touch-ups, that type thing. And I'm networking, so I do BNI, Rotary. I've actually gotten a ton of work through BNI this year. Our home services team in BNI is like really rocking. So that's been a great blessing this year. So yeah, what am I missing? Should I?
Okay. The multipliers. Yeah, you've got the foundation laid, your networking, which is step 5, and you're staying top of mind, which is step 9. But you're missing the multipliers, which is step 6. And those are the ABAs. Huge, right? Ben Campbell's been crushing these, and he's went from 1 to 2.5 million. Right? Isaac is grabbing a hold of these, and watch him. He's on his way. The compound effect's gonna kick in, and we're like, Isaac, remember us in your book. Okay. The ABAs, they compound, they're huge. And so there's 2 components there. The other one is you can go out and knock on some doors, which is a grind. ABAs are a lot more fun to do.
It is a grind. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it's a
it
grind.
builds character. It builds character, and it eliminates fears. I love that. So that was the first thing like I had Samuel do when he was younger. And now he's not afraid to pretty much do anything or talk to anybody. So ABAs and knock on doors, right? ABAs community spotlights are a really good one. To get started, to get rolling. They're fun. Do one of those a week. Launch either a young entrepreneur scholarship or a simple paying it forward. What's cool is both of those campaigns are a similar process and tech involved. And so once you get one going, you can go ahead and circle right around and create another one, right? And then remarkable presentations. You're no stranger to remarkable presentations. Get those rolling. And once you do, you will be remarkable in the sense, from Seth Godin, that others will start talking about you. I remember when I first started doing this, my buddy Lewis, who owned a cafe, he says, "Hey, Steve," he's straight from New York City, down in Florida. He said, "Not for nothing, people are going to start talking about you." I said, "Good." Yeah. I said, "Good." And you keep doing these and they multiply before you know it. Somebody calls and asks you to act in their commercial, and then you become the go-to guy, and they ask you to host the benefits and the charity events and the banquets. And then they ask you to come and act in their commercials. And then for the local magazines are reaching out to you, doing articles on you, and the local newspaper doing articles on you. And then your international trade associations call on to ask you to come and speak. It just multiplies it. They compound the ABAs, or where it's the magic zone. That's where the magic happens. So you got the foundation laid. Now it's time to multiply. Okay.
Yeah, I think I am due for a paying it forward. It's been
awesome.
It's been probably over a year since I've done my last.
There you go. Fantastic. And now go back and review the course, because there are a couple key components a lot of people miss. By the time you get to week 4, you might have a couple nominations. That's your opportunity to reach out to the newspaper and to post and to say, "Hey, what do you guys think is the hardest thing about paying it forward? Paying for the pain or getting people to volunteer?" No, it's actually nominations. Would you please help us and share this so we can get some nominations?
It's a good idea.
Nice.
And then call the newspaper, let them know too. "Hey, here's what we're doing, but we're really struggling to get nominations. Could you help us, please?"
Yeah, very good.
Alrighty.
Cool.
Are there certain projects that you guys recommend for those paying it forwards? As far as like, do you do cabinets? Do you do anything that's like a whole exterior?
Okay,
Just a
so good
room?
question. Yep, you create some guidelines, and you don't post the guidelines. It's just when they come in, you pre-qualify those that fit the guidelines, because it's just so hard to get. The weird thing is, it's really hard to get people to nominate somebody else. Okay, and so what you do is ideally you want to select a project that you and your crew can knock out in 6 hours on a Saturday easily. Now, sometimes, depending on what the project is, we might send somebody there a day or two prior. This would be on the clock just to prep it out. so that we could knock it out 4 to 6 hours on a Saturday. So whatever that size job is for your crew, then that fits your parameter. Again, you don't market it, you don't talk about that. You try to get all the nominations that you can. Yeah, but then you preview the stories and the scope of the work and those that fit within what works for you guys. Then you take those, hand them to your crew and let your crew discuss it and your crew decide who they're going to serve, who they're going to paint it forward for.
Okay.
And what I did in one was I put the value of it. So I'm not sure whether that's a good idea. I put it's like a $2,000 value because it was going to be like 4 people painting for a day type thing. Is that wise to do, or should I not put the value in there at all?
You can go back and forth. I go back and forth with it. You can try it or not include it at all. I didn't notice a difference either way when it comes to nominations.
I think just so people didn't think I was being chintzy and like only going to paint a door for somebody or something.
Yeah. Yeah. We would say somebody needs their home painted for them because we would do like a complete exterior, but it depends on the size of your crew. So what you can say is if somebody needs a few rooms painted, or if somebody needs, and you can throw it out there, the scope of the work to give them a guideline, or the dollar amount is fine too.
Okay,
And
cool.
in this situation, does Craig jump in and paint with them, or would I or do you just have the guys do it?
Oh, you can come up to Toronto and paint for my paint.
Yeah,
Isaac.
for sure.
That's
No
really
doubt.
generous. Thank you.
Yeah,
You pay
you
for the
should be out
flight.
We'll
there.
smuggle you across the border. We won't let them know that you don't have papers.
Yeah, you want to get out there with them. You want to dig up all the whites we burned. You want to find something. And it's funny, my guys are always like, just leave it to us. Don't even, I'm always so distracted with running the business and communicating and making sure everything's taken care of. But if you can, yeah, absolutely get out there and put some paint on the wall. If you can. And then you want it to look like you have at least one spot on you for the group photo at the end.
Yeah. And
But
no
yeah, you
issues
can.
with insurance since they're volunteering hours.
I never did, but again, I operate in the gray in the sense that I always ask for forgiveness versus permission. Otherwise, I would have done any of those. None of those remarkable presentations would have been allowed if I'd asked first.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just when you're repainting a home for somebody who is recovering from cancer, seriously, like what jury of my peers is going to convict me for my team volunteering on a Saturday?
Yeah.
I never worried about it, but good
For
questions.
sure.
All right, we got to keep moving here. Chris, you're up, buddy.
Good morning. So I'm paying $57 for CompanyCam, which when I just saw that, and so honestly, if you ask me if it's worth it, it's it's about the storage for me. Yeah, but I'm paying it and I'll probably keep paying it. But it's high, $57 for what it does. I don't know.
How much is
But
photo storage? I think on iPhone, or Apple, I'm only paying $20 a month for a trillion billion gigs,
yeah,
whatever it is. But it's only, I think I have a ton of photos and videos is my point. And I think I'm paying like $20 a month.
there's slight conveniences using CompanyCam. It integrates with Drip Jobs well, but
Oh no, I agree.
I
You
might
just
even
brought
no,
up the
I
point
might
of
even
using
switch.
it for storage. Yeah.
Yeah, no, honestly, 57's high for what it does.
Yeah.
But anyways, I read your article, Steve, you wrote why you shouldn't paint the biggest house on the hill. And I was just a little curious as to what size was the big house on the hill here in Texas. You can go up to 8 to 10,000 square feet houses. Some of these houses I've looked at, we could send a crew upstairs, send a second crew downstairs, and a third crew on cabinets or something like that. And maybe that's a way to make it work even, but I do think that there is a point where all your resources are getting sucked into one job and you're putting all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah. So great question. I'm glad you brought this up. One, Ron is originally recorded the video on Big House on the Hill and then went ahead and wrote an article on it, and that thing took off. It just resonated with so many people. It's pretty wild. So the principle of the Big House on the Hill is anything that's outside your 3Ps. Somebody said, the house on the hill is my 3Ps. Okay, cool. Then what's beyond your 3Ps, right? Maybe it's industrial complexes, maybe it's water towers. So the house on the hill is anything that's outside your 3Ps. So it's generally if somebody's doing residential repaints of ranches, then like the house you're talking about, that if you need to staff it with 3 crews, or if you need to tie up all your crews, that's a house on the hill. But the last thing you want to do is tie up all of your crews on one project. Keep multiple projects going because that increases cash flow, and you just keep turning over cash flow, right? You want multiple deposits and balances just feeding in and multiple roads and avenues of cash flow. Because if you're on that big house on the hill and you've got all your crews tied up and it goes sideways, oh brother, we've all been there. We've got scars. We don't even have to go into those. It would be a depressing ending to this mastermind. We don't want that. Right? You want to stay diversified to increase cash flows. You don't want to tie them all up. And the idea is get crystal clear in your 3 Ps and stay within there. Because when you go to the big house on the hill, it gets sideways. And a lot of times too, psychologically, what happens is your crews get there, and because it's such a large project, they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and so they don't hustle for it. And so it's just a drudge, a day in, day out drudge, and the production rates go way down too.
Yeah.
Moreover, we have to remember that we're in the referral business. What we're doing is we're collecting as many raving fans as we can so we can get referrals from them. But if we have everybody on one project for 6 months, that's one. If it doesn't go sideways, that's just one referral source. Versus we could have taken 3 crews and knocked out a small residential each week for each crew. That's 3. Okay, 3 times 6 months or whatever it might have been for that large project. And you've got multiple referral sources there. So we don't want to look at it as just the one sale, but also the long lifetime potential of all the referral sources from the raving fans that we could curate as well.
Is there like a rule of thumb? If you've got 6 guys, should you never have more than 3 or 4 at a project? If you have 10 guys, should you never have more than 5 or 6? Is there a ratio there? You know what I mean? Like in terms of having it diversified enough? That question makes sense?
I noticed that
Yeah.
don't go
Go ahead,
well.
Sonia.
Sorry, I noticed that 2 of them, especially when they're really top all-stars, I've had a mix. I've had like where there'll be 4 and you're like, why do you need 4 on that exterior? That just for the side, for the fascia and the siding on a few posts, you don't need that many. But then 2 you really work well. You have the helper, especially if they know how to prep it, get in there, know that what they're supposed to do, and then paint it out, the prep work, and then get it going. And then that one person that paints just needs to be there by himself, or the other person watching his cord or whatever when he's spraying. But that's what I've noticed depending on the project. And like right now I have one of those kind of little big house on the hill things right now, just a tad bit, but I have some other crews out there doing the other stuff. But the new construction part of it where that's another, that's not my people. But that have 3 people, but that's still good. I'm not having too many people in there doing too many things. So you don't want, it just depends on your crew. They need to know what they're doing. But 2 to 3 is like the max per project, depending on it.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. And then one thing too is we always lean into slightly understaffing every project and then encourage them. Hey, you can do this. I believe you can figure out how to get this thing done on time still. And they did every time. Okay. We got to move along for the sake of time. Sonia, you're up.
Okay, so mine, thank you for everybody sharing that. A lot of stuff was covered on that for what I was looking for too, on the ABAs and so forth. But mine is more on the DISC scale, I'm an IS. And so I struggle with the D and the C big time. And I'm like, what? I don't want to do that. But the D, I don't know, somebody was mentioning that you can't be all of it. But then somebody mentioned you are all of it, but you're more percentages of the IS. So you can fill that gap, and because you have to being a business leader. So that's where I'm struggling, is I'm trying to be more, get my C in so I can get my job costing, get my PL, get my numbers together, know where I'm at. And that's where once I get low on that and on the D and the C, and I need to strengthen that more. And I'm like, boy, where do I start?
I can answer that, Steve.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm on my 2nd year with Jason Phillips and Contractor Freedom. He talked about the disc profile very much.
Okay.
They are very big on disc profile, so I've learned a lot on disc. One thing I've learned, I don't do any C work unless I absolutely have to. I don't do my accounting. I don't do any of that stuff. Anything that's on the C, I hire out, because you're going to get burnout. You're not going to make money. So I'm a D and an I. Almost 50-50 really, but so I don't do any C work. So I don't want to mess with that. And I have even Angie, she's more of an S, but she'll work on C stuff because she's not too far off. But she'll handle the phone calls with the accountant and lining up all the information that she needs. And I just tell Angie, I don't want to mess with that. I'll go out there and I'll talk to clients, I'll sell jobs, I'll meet with my crew. But also on the other side of that is if your customer is a C, you've got to know that because you don't want to be talking as your I, trying to sell an I job to a C client. I'm not talking about a C rated, I'm talking on the disc profile. And
Right.
so you want to give them all kinds of information. If you go talk to someone like you're probably going to tell them a couple jokes before you even start talking about the house. And so that's it. Just do your profile and then everything else you delegate or hire out.
Okay, so that was somebody that mentioned that. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, a couple more points. That's great. Thank you, Daryl. But yeah, so play to your strengths, delegate the rest. And then two is personality isn't permanent. There's a
Yeah.
book, Personality Isn't Permanent. You don't have to buy it because the moral of the story is personality isn't permanent, meaning you can change it. I used to be a CS, off the charts CS, over analytical, indecisive, perfectionist, you name it. I was so in my own way. Okay. And until I started studying disc profiles, and the more I studied them, and the more I studied it in other people, and the more I understood it, the more I was able to change it. And so I can be a CS, I can be an SI if I need to. Now I get exhausted if I turn it on, the IIS, like April, or when I used to travel and give presentations, I'd have to turn it on. But afterwards, I have to go back out in the hotel room and take like a 3 hour nap to recover because that's not my natural. But you'll learn how to turn it on when you need to. Now, the IS, you definitely don't. Yeah, Daryl was saying delegate. So he's a D, delegate the high C stuff. I don't think that it's profitable for any of you guys to be doing your own books when you can outsource it for $250 a month. It's much easier for you to go knock on a few doors or make a sale than it is to be messing with the books, with QuickBooks. Nobody should be, besides every entrepreneur, even the high Cs, hate doing the books. So personality isn't permanent. You can change it. In the meantime, while you're changing it, you can adjust it. I used to be a CS. Now I'm a CD actually. Interesting. You're like, you're an IS, I'm a CD. April's an IS, right? And so we complement each other. And so I love to research and implement. So I research, I find it, implement. Okay. And then the coach needs to be a D, right? Need to help others to D up and get things done. And so I've learned to adapt and change. And then coffee helps too.
It's a C. Coffee.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess like for the leadership part of it, or do I just I have not read that leadership book. I don't even know which one it is. Yeah. So I think maybe that's where I need to start because I'm wait, can't see it. Hold on.
5 levels of leadership, Maxwell.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a field manual. There you go. Way to be, Isaac. Yeah, that's not even a book. It's like a field manual. It is so good.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Justin, you get to go last to kind of get a flow for everything. Florin came in a little late. Welcome, Florin. Glad to have you. Big wins and your one thing, please.
Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry a little bit. I had a problem with my iPad and couldn't log in. I don't know what's happened. Try to figure out what it is, so I have to use my phone, but I apologize for that. Big wins, couple big wins. We had a project, which that's what I'm trying to do with the builder because it keeps me busy, but I try to get on the other people's project, let's say, because there are a lot of painters and they don't give that high quality. So they have some garage door, they came unfinished, mahogany, and my guy's rocket is 190 hours, so it's 14K. And that was for a week and a half. Submitted bill yesterday, so I got paid on 15. He has a couple small projects also, which I'm gonna fit in for quality, most of it, because the other painters cannot do it. Start another small project, which is 3 days project, and it's 3K. So we start yesterday and we finish tomorrow. I have 2 crews now on the different areas. They are doing great. The other thing is on Saturday, I ran the storage because I start losing some kind of tools, and that storage is like 10 by 20, and it was like $130. It's a good price actually. So I don't have any problem after that to chase my tools. Everything is going to be in the storage. They can go anytime and pick up the ladders, collect the paint all the time, because sometimes we buy a gallon more, right? And you put in the storage, you might use in the other jobs. So That's another big win. That's what I have so far as the big wins.
Awesome. What could we brainstorm or unpack for you? What could we solve? Make
Okay,
everything
so
else.
as I mentioned before, that lady usually has a problem, but last week I was saying to her, because she is in a clock shark, so she clocked, but she shows 10 minutes after 8 o'clock. And I see location is like in the middle of the city, whatever we are. So when she comes there, I say, hey, how's everything? Is everything okay? You have any problems? She said, no, everything is okay. I said, you are late. What's going on? Is anything going on? Everything was fine. I said, and she said, I clock in. I said, no, you didn't clock in. I said, yeah, I clock in. And I showed the picture. I said, listen, that's the location. That's not right. When you come to the job site, that's when you clock in. And she got so mad. So she goes to she get the phone and talk to her husband because she doesn't speak English. And the husband is on the phone. She said, hey, I need to talk to you. I said, of course, anytime, but call me after 5 o'clock. During the day, you cannot call me because I'm very busy. After 5, anytime. He hasn't called me yet since Friday. So when she came yesterday, she came like 7:55, clock 8 o'clock. So she was scared. But on the job site now, another guy, they work together all the time. They are from the same country. The problem is like she's bossy all the time because he's saying he speaks English. She doesn't speak English. So he said, hey, Amanda, let's do that. And she goes, no, we got to do that. So I heard the conversation for 2 minutes and I stepped in. I said, listen, it has to be this way. And Malo is right. Don't do this way. Yeah, but that's how it has to be done. I said, no, the company has rules. So my point is like, how can I solve the problem? Do I have to tell her, hey, from here now, you have to listen to Malo what it is? Or I have to be there with them all the time and before they start the job, before they start the work? Yesterday, they did a lot of progress. The guy is is all the time, he said, I don't want to deal with her. Whatever she said, I said, okay, that's fine. I keep working.
Yeah.
So,
So let me give it to you straight, buddy. You ready?
yes.
Yeah, let her go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
She's
thing.
She's cancerous. Cut the cord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. You gotta let her go. She doesn't scale. And then back to the 3 Ps. Would you love to have 100 more employees just like her? And it's a hard no. So that tells us that yeah, we gotta let her go. She's not gonna scale. Or you showing up to like sort everything out every time doesn't scale. And she's gonna be a problem. And she's gonna call her husband to come and beat you up every time you tell her to show up on time or whatever. That's not okay. That's not safe. And she needs to follow the pecking order. She doesn't want to do that. So she has her own opinions and her own desires.
Yeah, I was
and
talking to
she's-
my foreman yesterday, and he goes, "Oh, we start 12 to 12:45. We have lunch, but she start from 11:45, trying to have her lunch ready, and then 12 she start. 12:45 she finish up, and she goes to the bathroom, whatever. By the time she comes to work, it's 1:15.
Okay.
And
Yep. Let her go.
yep, I
Let her
will.
go. Say, hey, sorry, you're not a good fit. All the best. Take care.
So when I let her go, do I have to give her a notice? Let's say like, hey, a week, you have to find something, or
No, I'd right after this meeting, I'd call her. I'd call her up,
Okay.
say, thank you for your service. It's no longer needed. All the best. And I wouldn't even get into it. I wouldn't get because all you're gonna do is open yourself up to argument.
Yeah,
oh,
I agree.
Nope. Just say we don't need your services anymore. That's all. Thank you.
okay, cool. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Justin, you're up.
I've been really interested in the Young Entrepreneurial Scholarship. I've been
Mhm.
looking into it for quite a while, and I
Awesome.
was about ready to pull the trigger. I was almost reaching out to all my local business partners, and we call it a biz-to-biz group, similar to BNI.
Mhm.
About ready to go to almost like a Home Depot or Menards to see if they want to donate something. And then I watched a lot of your videos through the cafe, and I was like, got it.
Awesome. Yes, I'm so glad you did. 'Cause
That
I'm
was
hearing all
just
these
led
things, I'm like, oh,
directly
no.
there. I was like, huh, they're here for a reason for this. So now I think it's pretty clear, but I just want to know if you guys have shared your experiences with doing it, just as far as more so the selection process. And then it was very valuable. I forget who was saying it, but the paying it forward process, similar to that, where finding people and selecting them and making like a criteria of who to select. We have a lot of young people, like I see it all over our Facebook groups of guys just starting a business, more so like landscaping and stuff like that. But I really want to just bless up somebody, just be like, here you go, here's a book to read, here's $1,000, or here's some equipment, just here's some resources, just here you go.
Mhm.
Just want to know what's the best way to go about it as far as structuring it, to find out who to pick and then how to present it, or just what to do.
Yeah, so the course, it's in the cafe and it's very similar to Paying It Forward. You create a nomination form and then that becomes your marketing campaign for the next 6 to 8 weeks, which is cool because that's an ABA. But what it does is it's putting you in front of everybody that you're seeking nominations. So you mentioned it at BNI, you mentioned it on Facebook, you mentioned it everywhere. And about 4 weeks into it, you just say, hey, we're having really struggling to find some nominations. Could you guys please share it? Just like a Paying It Forward. Now, to get nominations, it's cool that you've got these Facebook groups. Hopefully that helps. A couple other things is you want to see if there's a local tech school and homeschooling. Find the homeschool groups. They're going to be more entrepreneurial, and you're going to have a good chance of possibly finding some nominations in there as well.
That's good.
Yeah, love Young Entrepreneur Scholarship. It's so fun and rewarding. Yeah. So good. I'm glad you saw the to don'ts.
Yeah, it was like, that was so clear. It's, thanks for sharing all of that. That's
Yeah, I'll
valuable.
never forget that time with the Home Depot story, right? We showed up in the paper and we went ahead and paper met us at Home Depot because Norm at Home Depot, who wants us to buy his paint, he said, hey, we'll throw in a leaf blower for the young man who we bought a lawnmower from. And we did all the work of putting together this campaign. And so we show up and the newspaper takes a picture of us out in front of Home Depot. And you can't even really tell that, but Norm's out there with us with his Home Depot apron on. And everybody said, hey, that was a nice thing you did with Home Depot. Excuse me? We did all the work. They kicked in a leaf blower. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you saw that. Yeah, and then a nomination form. And then what we did too is we had them come in and we would select, I don't know, sometimes it was only 3 or 4, So just know that you're not going to get a lot of nominations. It's hard to get them, but the blessing of that is you get to promote it more and say, we're really struggling to get nominations. Please help us get the word out, right? So that's the blessing there. And then you invite them in and they all present their businesses to you. And they take turns like Shark Tank. So this is before Shark Tank was a thing. We'd have them come in and present their businesses to us. And so they'd have to develop their presentation, their presenting skills, and they'd have to think through it and present. And then whichever one we liked, we would go ahead and select. They were the winner, and we'd create a great big check. We'd have our printer create one of those great big checks, and we write their name on it, and we take a great big group photo with them and their parents usually. And then the student or the kid gets to hold onto the check. And then we'd send that story to the paper too. And sure enough, it get published most times. I think every scholarship got published in the paper.
Is there an age cutoff for young?
We went up to 20 just because it's so hard, 20-ish, because it was just so hard to find until the first couple of years. I remember it was really hard. Like the first year, it was so hard that I nominated my kids and then I recused myself from being a judge. My son Steven, he had a lawn mowing business, and then Nadia, she was cleaning cars, but only, and that was just an agreement with everybody involved because I think we only had 1 or 2 other nominations the first year. We were still trying to figure it out. So we went up to, I think about 20. So from like 12 to 20. And once we got a hold of the tech schools and inside the homeschooling community, it became much easier to find nominations.
Cool.
Okay. All right, guys, right on time. Let's roll out with takeaways.
Yeah.
Daryl, would you lead the way, please?
Yeah, leave it to the new guy, Justin. I want to look into the entrepreneurial scholarship. I've heard us talk about a long time. I was like, I have a tech school. My Rotary meets at a tech school. I've got connections with the tech school, so there's really no reason for me not to look into that. So I'm gonna look into it.
Awesome. Right on. Thank you, Daryl. Isaac?
Yeah, my main one is the 3 Ps with the employees. Would you want 100 more of them? Wow. Yeah, that's a good assessment. And then just all the stuff on disc was really helpful.
Right on. And then you guys might go back and listen to the podcast episode April and I did. It was in the 70s, maybe 74-ish, 70 something on disc as well. So we do a deeper dive there for you. Hey, Jesus.
Yes, I come from a place of more obligation to protect the customer.
Yeah, it's a whole new feeling, right? There you go. Right on. Okay, thank you. Craig?
I think I'm going to get in gear and get a Paying It Forward going.
Awesome. Okay, right on. Chris?
That was really helpful. Yeah, just trying to figure out like how should you think about these jobs? Should you think about in this many? I don't want houses that are this many dollars. I don't want houses that are this many square feet. I like how you said I don't want a house that's going to take up all my guys. I really like that. So that's
Yep,
very
yep.
helpful.
Yep, and be thinking about the long game. We're trying to create as many customers, referral sources as we can as well. So find that sweet spot. Right on. Sonia.
The ABAs. I want to really dive into more of that, more ABAs.
Mhm.
I really like do you like my poem or my little thing, my little what you call it, Isaac?
Yeah, you gotta surprise them.
Yeah. And then also just delegate on the disc, find where your strength, but delegate. But I really like that one about the personality thing. I go, it's true. I feel like a little chameleon sometimes. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Right on.
Thank you.
Florian.
Looking at that 3-piece, ABS, paying forward, and I have to let her go.
Yes, sir.
Go.
Okay.
Let her go.
Let her
Let her
go.
go.
All right. And Justin, close us out with your takeaways, please.
I really, Chris brought up the house on the hill, just to know, being aware of what your team's capable of. And sometimes it's saying no is better than saying yes. Like you're saying, you can knock out 6 little smaller projects, that's more value, and you get more repeat customers. All that's just massive. But just being aware of it, and also disc. I'm a bit aware of it, but I've never really done the disc profile myself. So I'd like to do that myself and with my team, just to know how we all are, how we can communicate. And then also pairing that with the client, I'm doing an estimate. I just be sensitive to where they might fall on disc and just see how it all gels together.
Yes,
Take
sir.
pace
That's
in
awesome,
mirror.
sir. All right, fantastic. Thank you. I want to encourage you to do exactly what it says behind Sonia. Dream big, hustle smarter. You've got
You got
this.
this. Have a good guy.
See you guys.
See you later.
Have a great day.